He looks so relaxed, so smooth. Lavelle gets the 150, looks right, looks left. No one is there. Chiramba, his closest competitor.
In Tokyo, the world of track and field just witnessed something extraordinary. A 17-year-old sprinter from Australia, Gout Gout, accomplished what even Usain Bolt never did at the same age. At the 2025 World Championships, he surged through the 200-meter rounds with fearless speed and precision, reaching the semifinals and capturing the attention of the entire sprinting world. While most teenagers are just beginning to explore their futures, Gout Gout is already rewriting history on the track. This year, at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Gout became the youngest man ever to represent Australia in the 200 meters. Not only did he hold his own, he made the semifinals, clocking at 20.23 inches the heats and coming just shy of the final with a 20.36 inches the semifinal. And that's not even the headline. Just weeks earlier, he ran a legal 20.02 seconds in Ostrava, breaking his own national record and surpassing the times Bolt had recorded at the same age. That's right, Usain Bolt didn't run 20.02 until he was older. At 17, Bolt's best time over 200 meters was 20.13, which he ran in 2003 at the World Youth Championships. Gout Gout, by comparison, hit 20.02 before turning 18, and he did it on the senior international stage. What makes this more astonishing is the context. Gout Gout wasn't just some random kid showing up for a race. He entered the World Championships as the Oceania record holder in the 200 meters, and while his personal bests include wind-aided 100 meters times under 10 seconds and a 200 meters in 19.84, it was that electrifying performance in Ostrava, run under legal conditions, that officially shattered Australia's national record and solidified his place among the sport's elite.
Menya moving away from him, Morizzi in the headband, a battle between these two, and Gout working so hard to get to him, and he gets there. Gout takes it by a meter and moves.
I feel good, new personal best, new national record in my first European race, he said after the Ostrava Golden Spike meet. I don't feel any pressure, because as soon as I step out on that track, it's just me by myself and what I've got to do, my favorite thing, and that's to run. This attitude is part of what makes Gout so special. At just 17, he's not burdened by the pressure or the spotlight. He's driven by joy. He runs with the composure of a veteran, but carries the fearlessness of youth. And when you pair that mindset with the kind of talent he's shown this year, the possibilities become electrifying. Born in Queensland, Gout is of Sudanese heritage and has been turning heads on the Australian athletics scene for over a year. His record sent a loud message to the global track community. Gout Gout was coming. Then came the European Tour. At the Monaco Diamond League under 2-3 event, he ran 20.1, and by the time he lined up at Ostrava, the stage was set for something bigger. That 20.02 wasn't just fast, it was decisive, and smashing Peter Norman's 5-6-year-old national record in the process. Even Usain Bolt was in the stadium during Gout's performance in Tokyo, a symbolic moment that linked generations of greatness. Gout didn't just run faster than Bolt at 17, he did it with the Jamaican icon watching from the stands. The World Championships offered Gout his first taste of the biggest stage. He navigated the curve from lane 8 in his heat, holding his composure and finishing strong to advance. Though he didn't make the final, placing 4th in his semi with a 20.36, he proved he belonged among the world's fastest. What stands out most is Gout's maturity. After missing the final, he told reporters, "Obviously, I was aiming for that sub-20, but today wasn't the day. God didn't allow it today. But I know for sure in the future it's going to be coming." He added, "The thing I have on them is time. They may not have 15 years, but I've got 15 years. I know that if I can do this at 17, I can do this at 25, and I'll be even better at 25. This long-term perspective paired with his results makes Gout a terrifying prospect for competitors. He's not racing for short-term fame, he's building a career. Back home, the excitement is building. Australia hasn't seen a teenage sprinter this promising in decades. The fact that he broke Norman's 200 meters record, a record that had stood for over half a century, gives historical weight to his achievement. More importantly, he's done it without losing his grounding. Despite balancing elite training and competition, Gout remains a focused student. He's preparing for his final school exams back in Australia, and he's expressed interest in studying psychology. It's rare to see an athlete this young juggling elite sport with academic discipline, but for Gout, it's just part of who he is. The Australian athletics community is alive with excitement about a golden generation, and Gout Gout is right at the center of that conversation, calling it one of the most exciting eras in decades. And while comparisons to Bolt might seem premature, they aren't unfounded. The numbers don't lie. Bolt didn't hit sub 2010 until after his 18th birthday. Gout's already there. And unlike Bolt, who came into his prime later in his teens, Gout's progress suggests he might hit elite form even earlier. So what's next? Gout will take a short break after the World Championships to focus on school, but his 2026 season promises to be even bigger. With the Olympics on the horizon and a growing reputation, he'll return with more experience, more strength, and more targets. His sub-20 goal is realistic. His ability to compete with seasoned pros has already been proven. There's something rare about Gout Gout. It's not just his speed, it's his presence. He moves with quiet confidence, he speaks with humility, and he competes with the heart of a champion. Every time he steps onto the track, he does it not just for medals, but for the joy of running, for the pride of his heritage, and for the hope of a nation. He may not have made the final in Tokyo, but in many ways, he won something bigger. He won the world's attention, and that's just the beginning. As his training continues to evolve, expect his 100-meter speed to sharpen even further. With wind-legal performances sure to come, Gout's potential as a dual-event threat, like Bolt, makes him a valuable asset for any national relay squad. His form, mechanics, and tactical maturity already show signs of elite coaching and athlete IQ far beyond his age. He's been embraced not only by fans but by legends of the sport. Coaches across continents are keeping tabs on him. Sponsors are starting to call. He's quickly becoming a household name in Australia and an emerging name on the international circuit. And the most exciting part? He's still growing. His physique is developing, his race strategy is refining, and his exposure to world-class competition is sharpening him by the day. By the time he hits 18, he might not just be one of the best juniors in the world, he could be a genuine Olympic medal contender. In a world craving the next sprinting icon, Gout Gout isn't just answering the call, he's redefining what's possible at a young age. The world better be ready, because this Australian phenom is just getting started.
Quickly picks up Howard behind him, and then out wide at Kelly. How quick will he be? He's stretching away now. Isn't he beautiful to watch? He did switch off. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy!
At just 17 years old, Gout Gout has done what few ever imagined. He's shattered records, stunned international athletes, and injected new life into Australian sprinting. But beyond the headlines and the split-second finishes lies a story that's only just beginning. Because Gout isn't just fast, he might be the future of global track. Let's rewind to a warm evening in Perth. Gout Gout, then a relatively unknown teenager, stepped onto the track for the Australian U20 National Championships. What followed was nothing short of extraordinary. In one day, he clocked not one, but two wind-assisted 9.99-second runs in the 100 meters. Though ineligible for records due to tailwinds, the message was clear. A new sprinting star had arrived. Gout didn't stop there. That same weekend, he demolished a piece of Australian athletic history, Peter Norman's 5-6-year-old 200 meters national record. His time? A blistering 20.04 seconds. Just months later, he would better that mark again with a 20.02-second finish in Ostrava, Czech Republic, making it official. Gout Gout had run the fastest 200 meters in Oceanian history. This wasn't just another fast time. It was the fastest ever by an Australian and the second fastest 200 meters by any under 1:8 sprinter in history, just behind Usain Bolt's world best. That record-breaking run in Ostrava wasn't against local talent either. He beat established international names like Cuba's Rainier Mena and Olympic medalist Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake from the UK. And through it all, Gout remained composed. After the race, he told reporters, "I feel good. New personal best, new national record in my first European race. I don't feel any pressure." There was no arrogance, just a calm, self-assured teenager with a growing list of accomplishments. Gout's rise is even more remarkable when you look at where he came from. Born in December 2007 Inches, Ipswich, Queensland, he's one of 7 children in a family that fled war-torn South Sudan. His parents, Dinka refugees, endured a difficult journey through Egypt before settling in Australia. His name, Gout, was a clerical error during the immigration process, a mistake that would soon become a symbol of triumph. Originally drawn to soccer, Gout made the switch to track in his early teens. By 14, he was rewriting national records. At 15, he was already running 20.87 seconds in the 200 meters and earning a silver medal at the World U20 Championships in Lima. And by 16, he had signed a professional contract with Adidas. While many teens his age were worrying about exams and social media, Gout was racing grown men and breaking continental records. In April 2025, at the Australian National Championships, he clocked an incredible 19.84 inches, the 200 meters, though the wind reading made it unofficial. But Gout wasn't discouraged. He smiled and said, "It's definitely frustrating. I run fast times, but the wind is not on my side. Hopefully one day the wind will be great." Weeks later, his wish came true. With legal wind conditions, he ran a 20.02 inches Europe, an official record that confirmed everything fans had hoped for. To truly grasp how monumental this is, let's put things in context. By age 17, even Usain Bolt hadn't run that fast. Gout's performances are not only national headlines, they're global signals that a new contender is rising. When the 2025 World Athletics Championships arrived in Tokyo, Gout was the youngest man ever selected for Australia's senior sprint team. All eyes were on him as he stepped into the blocks against legends like Usain Bolt and Brian Level. In the semi-final, he moved from 7th to finish 4th with a 20.36. It wasn't enough for the final, but it was a world-class debut. His response? Classy as ever. "Obviously, I was aiming for that sub-20, but today wasn't the day. God didn't allow it today, but I know for sure in the future it's going to come." That maturity, patience mixed with burning ambition is what truly sets Gout apart. His mental game is just as strong as his physical talent. Even with international pressure, media attention, and major sponsorships, he remains grounded. He's currently finishing school and even considering a future in psychology. Coaches say he's calm, analytical, and deeply focused. It's a rare mix in a sport where hype can derail even the most promising careers, and that's what makes him different. He's not just here for the moment, he's built for the long haul. Of course, comparisons to Usain Bolt are inevitable. Both were teenage prodigies. Both possess smooth, long strides and seem to glide across the track. But Gout's not trying to be the next Bolt. As many are starting to say, he might just be the first Gout Gout. Australia hasn't had a sprinter on this level since Peter Norman's iconic 1,968 silver medal performance. For decades, the nation's athletic pride lay in swimming and distance running. But Gout has reignited an entire sprint culture. Track commentator Bruce McAvaney called it a renaissance. And it's not just the numbers. Gout's story connects with people on a human level, a refugee family, a young boy discovering his talent, a teenager standing on the world stage, not just representing Australia, but redefining it. After the World Championships, Gout took a short break to focus on his final high school exams. Yes, even after sprinting past world-class athletes, he's still just a student, balancing chemistry tests with championship races. That humility and focus suggests something even greater ahead. He's not letting the spotlight change who he is. For now, the goals are clear: break 20 seconds legally, represent Australia at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, and maybe, just maybe, become the fastest man alive. Because let's be honest, at this pace, anything is possible. Gout Gout is now the youngest athlete ever to hold the Oceanian 200 meters record. He's already outrun Usain Bolt's under 1:06 marks, and he's within striking distance of Bolt's under 2:0 records. He's got the Adidas deal, the records, the fans, but more importantly, he's got the drive. One more thing to consider: Gout has yet to fully tap into his potential. He's still refining his start, which he openly admits isn't where he wants it to be. "I didn't get the start I anticipated," he said after one of his standout races. And yet, even with less than perfect launches, he's dominating fields and setting records. Once he perfects those early meters, the rest of the world might be playing catch-up. He also holds multiple age group titles and has already competed at both junior and senior international levels before turning 18, something almost unheard of in the track world. And while most teenagers are easing into elite competition, Gout has already proven he belongs in the conversation with the best sprinters alive. More importantly, his recent qualification for the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo has thrust him into the global spotlight. Gout is now preparing to compete head-to-head with sprinting giants like Noah Lyles and Usain Bolt. It's a chance not only to test himself against the world's best, but to possibly become the first Australian ever to break the 20-second barrier in an official 200 meters competition. So, is he the next Bolt? Maybe. Or maybe he's something even rarer, a once-in-a-generation talent with a once-in-a-generation story. Because when Gout Gout steps onto the track, he's not just running a race, he's rewriting history.
And Nader coming wide for Portugal. Nader for Portugal from right on the line. And the younger chariot takes the bronze. What a run!
Everyone thought they knew how the 1,500 meters at the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo would end. The experts had already picked their winner. But when the race was over, the spotlight wasn't on the favorites. It was on one man, Usain Nader. From the start, no one saw him coming. Ranked 8th in the world and sitting at 5-0-1 odds, Nader was the last person anyone expected to win gold. He had never even made the podium at a major championship before, but what he did in the final 100 meters of that race wasn't just a victory, it was a message. This underrated Portuguese sprinter had just flipped the entire script of the men's 1,500 meters. The build-up to this race was already unusual. With memories of the previous year's Olympic final still fresh, fans had been anticipating a high-stakes rematch between the sport's biggest names. But one by one, those stars fell. Jarrett Nugus didn't even qualify for Worlds, finishing 5th at the U.S. Championships. Jakob Ingebrigtsen, still nursing an Achilles injury, couldn't make it out of the first round. Cole Hawker, the reigning Olympic champ, was shockingly disqualified in the semifinals after a controversial clash with Germany's Robert Farken. That left Josh Kerr as the last man standing among the old guard. The reigning world champion and Britain's golden hope, Kerr was expected to hold the fort. But with 600 meters to go in the final, disaster struck. His calf seized up, leaving him limping down the track and finishing in last place. In a race that had already defied logic, Kerr's sudden collapse removed the last familiar face from the podium conversation. At this point, the crown seemed destined for the 20-year-old phenom, Niels Laros. The Dutch prodigy had blitzed the Diamond League all season and lined up as the heavy favorite. As the final lap began, Laros was perfectly positioned on the shoulder of Kenya's Timothy Cheruiyot, a seasoned veteran and former world champion. But even the best-laid plans can unravel in the chaos of a 1,500. With just 200 meters to go, it was Jake Whiteman, the 2022 world champion, who made a move that had all the makings of a comeback fairy tale. After 3 grueling years of injuries, Whiteman found himself out front again in a major final, just as he had been in Eugene. His arms were pumping, his stride looked strong, and his father, Jeff Whiteman, was once again calling the race over the PA system, just as he had during his son's 2022 victory. But what no one saw coming was what was happening behind him. Usain Nader, running in 5th with just 100 meters left, had been hiding in plain sight. His positioning was quiet but calculated. And in those final moments, he unleashed one of the most blistering finishes ever seen on a championship stage, closing his last 100 meters in a staggering 12.28 seconds. His final 200, a fiery 25.32, and the last lap, an elite 51.2 seconds. Whiteman saw it coming too late. As he drove for the line, Nader surged past him, barely dipping across the finish 0.02 seconds ahead. Just like that, Portugal had its first ever world title in the men's 1,500 meters. The time, 3:34:10. It wasn't just a win, it was a reshuffling of the global hierarchy. Whiteman, heartbroken yet gracious, accepted silver with a time of 3:34:12. Kenya's Reynold Cheruiyot, just 21 years old, took bronze in 3:34:25, his first global medal. Laros, the favorite, faded hard and finished a disappointing 5th. Timothy Cheruiyot, once the man to beat, had nothing left in the closing stages. It was one of the closest 1,500-meter finishes in history, closer than most 100-meter finals. The Tokyo crowd could barely believe what they had seen. One of the sport's most unpredictable events had somehow managed to become even more chaotic. For Nader, the moment was beyond anything he had experienced before. "I am emotionally tired but very happy," he said post-race. "I am speechless. Today I am a world champion, and there is only one bigger title, the Olympic gold." Until this race, Nader had been known mostly on the European circuit. He was the 2021 Portuguese indoor champion in both the 1,500 and 3,000 meters. In 2023, he took silver at the European Games, and in early 2025, he had picked up a bronze at the European Indoor Championships. But he had never stood atop the podium at a global level. That all changed in Tokyo, and it wasn't just about one good race. Nader has been quietly building toward this moment all season. In June 2025, he ran a blistering 29.37 inches Ostrava, making him one of the fastest men in the world that year. Just days earlier, he'd clocked 1:43.86 inches the 800 meters in Guadalajara. His fitness was peaking, but few outside his camp noticed. Born in Faro, Portugal, to a Moroccan father and Portuguese mother, Nader's roots in sport run deep. He's the nephew of Hassan Nader, a Moroccan international footballer. At the club level, he represents SL Benfica, one of Portugal's most storied institutions. But no club or family legacy could have predicted what he pulled off on that humid night in Tokyo. The men's 1,500 meters has long been one of the most wide-open events in track and field. And in recent years, that unpredictability has only intensified. Nader's win makes him the 6th different man to take the world title in